Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Alien vs. Predator Galaxy YouTube channel. This is Aaron Percival, aka Corporal Hicks.
And this is Adam Zeller, aka Ridgetop.
Eric Adams, also known as Xenomorphine.
And welcome to a new episode of the Motion Tracker video series. And it's a surprising episode of the Alien Motion Tracker video
Very
series
surprising.
because I don't think any of us expected to be talking about this.
Nope.
So, as of recording yesterday, we got some pretty exciting details. Adam, what the hell happened? As the news poster, you can go over this.
So we are getting a new Alien movie, which came out of nowhere.
It might be a bit premature to say we're getting it. It's just in development.
It's in development. Hopefully, this doesn't turn out to be another Alien 5, where we get our hopes up and then it fades away. But we didn't expect to be hearing anything about an Alien movie until after the FX TV series. So this did catch us by surprise. So a new Alien movie is coming, and I guess this will be written and directed by Fede Álvarez. This director has helmed the Evil Dead remake, which came out in 2013. More recently, The Girl in the Spider's Web of the Dragon Tattoo series, and a film called Don't Breathe, which I've heard mixed things about. But this guy kind of goes with horror films, I guess, more of a horror director. And apparently, he just casually pitched this Alien idea to Ridley Scott a while back, and the idea remained with Scott for a while. And late last year, Scott hit him up about it and said, do you want to do this?" So this was exclusively broken by the Hollywood Reporter, and this is from their news about it. Alvarez's take is being kept deep inside the studio's chest, but sources describe it as unconnected to the previous movies. According to sources, Alvarez is a rabid fan of the franchise and casually pitched a take to Scott many years ago. The idea remained implanted in Scott's brain until late last year when he called Alvarez out of the blue and asked him if the younger filmmaker was still up for it. Alvarez didn't have to be asked twice. 20th Century picked up the project, quote, purely off the strength of Fede's pitch, said division president Steve Aspel. Quote, it was just a really good story with a bunch of characters you haven't seen before. So I guess 20th Century Studios president Steve Aspel, who also talked to the Hollywood Reporter about the time period of Prey, spoke to them about this Alien movie as well. Aspel, who recently spoke to Hollywood Reporter about the future of 20th Century Studios, said by doing the project for Hulu, there wouldn't be the pressure to whittle down the potential edginess that could come with theatrical considerations. It's not a film that has to be all things to all people with those gargantuan budgets. They get to be authentically what they are, and this is closer to its genre roots. Okay. So,
didn't we talk about this when we did our future hopes and dreams for the future? This idea of a lower budget standalone Alien film where they have to try and not go big, but go little.
We talked about that.
I find that prospect really exciting. I'm not gonna lie. I think it was something we also brought up when we were talking about the possibility of Blumhouse, getting hold of the license.
Yeah, you look at the returns that those lower budget horror movies can pull sometimes, and they can still create a pretty compelling world. Like, look at the Purge movies. Like, those movies are super low budget, and they pull huge returns. And so I think we've been saying for a while, Aaron, that Alien should be going lower budget, can be more of a horror-oriented, kind of back to its roots, smaller contained stories, which can be unrelated to the previous stories, which they mentioned that as well. Like, this is unconnected to the previous films. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of those 40th anniversary shorts that just did their own thing, like something like that, but as a full movie, which I'm super hyped about. I think that could work really,
and
really
just the
well.
comics and books as well. That is the entire feel of a lot of the EU. So I'm really excited about just that single prospect. I mean, what about you, Eric?
Well, there's two things here right off the bat, basically. Right in that quote there, it's not a film that has to be all. Sorry, before that, there wouldn't be the pressure to whittle down the potential edginess which comes with theatrical considerations. And he says, they get to be authentically what they are, and this is closer to its genre roots. That right there suggests heavily to me that they are definitely going to lean in strongly to horror, and it will be very much an adult rating. Some people do worry about PG-13 when it's coming to this, the possibility of that with the upcoming Predator film. This sounds like they just said, you know what we need to do? And they've pitched it a bit like Alien Isolation without the Amanda Ripley link, which is great. It sounds a lot like that. It's isolate the feel of Isolation without an Amanda Ripley. It might be one like her, but there's not that link character because they said it's completely original characters. And the other thing is, of course, the director. Now, I haven't seen Don't Breathe. I did see the advert for it. It looked very interesting, but I have seen the Evil Dead remake. I thought personally, now I know Evil Dead fans had an issue with it because it wasn't comical like the original source material.
Well, neither was the old original Dead or old original Evil Dead.
Well, yeah, but
it became more comical through the series.
Yeah. But I thought as a straight horror film, especially one that's dealing with demonic possession, I thought it was really well done.
I did too. I really enjoyed his Evil Dead remake.
I thought in particular that's got relevance for an Alien film, the part where, the girl gets caught by the tree and what happens with her in that. I could see, if that director was being given, they're helming an Alien film, how he did the tension and that sort of, psychosexual part to do with that scene. I could see him handling the material of Alien really well. And the whole film, it did a lot of good things with tension, which is what you need in an Alien film.
And the whole film was just in like a cabin in the woods, like very low budget, and he was able to do a lot with it.
Exactly. It's dealing with these elements, these themes that there's the old phrase that, like with the Strauss brothers, said it's a gritty film and it's back to its roots. These are the elements that you need to go back to the root. There's similar kind of, this sounds like someone who might give us what Blomkamp was saying in his interviews with what he was going to want to give. Now, all he's got to do is basically say something about H.R. Giger's aesthetics, and basically we're there, I think. So long as, again, we're talking a vacuum, but these things, I'm hearing good things right from the offset. And keep it there, and I'm interested in this project.
I mean, the whole thing as well about not having to whittle down its edginess makes me sort of think perhaps it is going to lean more on that sexual side. There's always a little bit of a, you don't want the subtext to go too far. But I mean, even if it went a little bit further, I think could be interesting because that's always going to be there. And I think that is,
I mean, as long as you get the feel of horror, that at least the first two films, I don't say third because Fincher has always been one that's quoted as saying one of the big problems with the third film is that it went for squeezy horror, not scary horror. The first two films did deal with horror. Bring that back, and it feels like that quote is very much hinting at that. Like, especially that might even be, they're bringing egg wolfing back or something. You don't know if they will,
man,
but
I
it
love
would
that
be
so much.
in line with that quote, the edginess, and it's going to the roots of the genre. Maybe it's something like that.
Well, I've wanted this for such a long time. Something that is not connected to Ripley at all because she had 4 movies. Sure, I'd like to see a continuation of her resurrection character in some form, but more than that, and after the prequels too, were just so muddled for me. I just want to see a classic feeling alien tale like the comics, like Isolation, that's just set somewhere in this universe. And it sounds like this is what this could be. And I think it's an awesome idea. Well, we know nothing about the idea, but I think it's an awesome concept in terms of, hey, let's just do something that's totally unrelated to what came before. And I think the Fox president has a good point. I mean, the fans I've seen some griping about the Hulu release with this as well. But there is something to be said that you look at the creative risk taken on streaming movies and shows now versus the
Mm.
creative or the lack of creative risks taken in theatrical movie releases. There is an element where they're trying to please mainstream audiences in big theatrical releases now, at least some of the time. It shouldn't be that way. I think you can have big movies, big theatrical movies that are bold and unique, like Dune. But at the same time, there is this pressure for the studio, I think,
Mhm.
in terms of theatrical releases, where they are trying too hard to cater to our mainstream audience rather than appealing to niche fan tastes. And I think this could be a good avenue for doing that. I mean, again, people are thinking about this like the old times, like direct to DVD stuff. These aren't those times anymore. You have exclusive streaming movies that are nominated for Best Picture now, the Oscars. Like, times are different. The industry has changed completely. I will always enjoy the theatrical experience. I love going to movie theaters. Um, I'm glad
To
that's
be
coming back
let's
more, and I'm seeing Batman this weekend, and I'm excited about that. But things are just changing, and
Mhm.
more theatrical quality movies are going to be released on streaming. Yeah, there will be something missed in going to the movie theater, but I feel like a lot of people have big screens at home now, and
Yeah,
that's
that
become
was
quite
exactly what I
accessible.
was gonna say.
Um,
Yeah.
so you can make a nice movie night, get some light dimmers or whatever if you don't have them, and make a little movie theater at home. I know there's also movie theaters are expensive too now, and sometimes the crowds are not great. So it's like there's advantages to both. Um, I hope I really like what HBO Max was doing, where you'd have theatrical releases and streaming releases released on the same day, where you could see it how you want to see it.
Mhm.
So that would be more ideal, I think. But I'm not opposed to this. Again, like we talked about in the podcast, though, I just want eventual physical release for this movie and Prey and the Alien series. If
Yes.
this is just locked to a streaming platform forever, that'll be a little more difficult for me as a fan.
I guess it's still early days in seeing how Hulu streaming's going to handle that, isn't it? Because I guess this has only really been a thing since the Disney takeover. So it might be worth looking into seeing how other Hulu streaming releases have dealt with the home releases.
I think Disney has an ownership stake in Hulu,
They do.
um, but I don't know if it's total.
Okay.
Like,
I think it's just worth looking into,
yeah,
for precedents and stuff like that. And I'm actually I'm not overly familiar with Fede Alvarez like you guys either. I haven't seen Don't Breathe. I'm going to. Certainly, I'm going to now. But I
I want
mean,
to
just
watch
look.
this Dragon Tattoo movie as well because I think that's a cool
Mm.
series. So.
But just like looking at Don't Breathe on IMDb, it's a 7.1. It's pretty reasonable. Evil Dead's rated a little less at 6.5, but I have seen that, and it is one of only 2 films I've ever had to go and take a step outside while watching.
And you didn't watch the
Um,
unrated cut. I still need to watch that one.
so
There was actually an interesting facet to that does actually relate to how he might possibly handle. Like, we don't know what the story is, but apparently now I don't feel the Evil Dead remake had too much gore, but apparently he said in an interview that one of the criticisms of the Evil Dead one was it had too much gore, and they gave the characters too much, this, that, and the other. So he said, okay, we're going to turn it on its head. We're going to have minimum of gore, and we're going to make it so that the villain can't see. Now, that in itself makes for an interesting formula for a film. So it makes you wonder, how is he going to apply that logic to an Alien film? Is
because
he
at the
going to
end of the
look at
day,
what
Alien's not gory either, really.
No, but how?
Outside.
Well, that's the other thing, because a lot of people say, "Oh, you just need gore-soaked Fabian film." You don't. How is he gonna up? Is he gonna create that sort of like Lambert death sort of thing? What is he gonna?
Mhm.
Is he gonna sort of try to give the alien a disability somehow? What is he going to do to play around in that sandpit
That's a fair
to
point, actually.
see what the typical formula is and turn it on its head? Because he has shown a willingness to take a formula, turn it on its head, make it more interesting for it. And I think also because of that "Don't Breathe" thing, where it's a blind guy hunting people down who's invaded his home, that immediately, as I say, I haven't seen the film. I saw the trailer, but it did make me think that feels a lot like the alien in Alien Isolation, when everybody's hiding from it, don't make a sound, and you've got this thing that's stalking through. It makes me feel that might be how he's going to handle this.
It's definitely an interesting thought. Yeah, I really like that. And now I'm getting excited just on that Eric's speculation alone there. It's always the risk. It's always a risk.
Yeah. I'll be checking out his other work myself that I haven't seen. But again, I liked Evil Dead. I still haven't seen the unrated cut of that either, and I need to check that out. I think it could go gory. I think just go nuts with it and make it super gory. You can do gore, I think, in a good way where there's still, it's not just about the disgust. I think Alien 3 and Resurrection, the gore got a bit in the silly fashion, but you look at Isolation and the amount of like blood in that game sometimes, and there is a bit of, I think there's a bit of gore in Isolation as well. Maybe not too much, but there's a bit.
Well, so I think done for meaningful impact, not just for the sake of it. That's what matters.
It was with Evil Dead. It was I found it really intense as a film, you know, and even when the gore wasn't necessarily, the stuff wasn't necessarily gory, like the whole possession, the girl under the stairs stuff. She freaked me the fuck out. Yeah. She freaked me out so bad, and I hate Evil, the original series. I'm sorry, Dan. I know you're probably listening to this. There's a buddy of mine who fucking is his thing. It's his Alien, his Evil Dead, the original stuff. I don't actually know how I think about the remake, but yeah, she freaked me out so much, and I liked that the remake took a more serious take on it. You know, I fucking hate how campy and silly the originals are.
Yeah, but that was so fun though.
I hated it. I don't like Sam Raimi.
Evil Dead 2 was the best one, I thought.
But no, it was when one of the guys holds up his hand to deflect a blow and it splits his fingers. And I don't remember that necessarily being gory, but you know, just the disfiguration of it,
cringe injury.
Yeah, kind of I stood up and I just walked out the cinema and had to take a seat outside and have a breather because that just tipped me over the edge. I was like, Jesus Christ!
It must be said that in terms of Evil Dead, the TV show that was recently done actually managed to somehow, every single episode virtually was gold. They managed to straddle the comedy with horror beautifully. It was the perfect, but it was much better than the original film. So it can be done. But in terms of a straight horror film, yeah, the remake of Evil Dead was, I think it was handled well. And I think it also shows you how it was kind of like it was small in scale. Where you look at something like the first of the AVP films, it tried to be epic in scale with a pyramid and things like that. Sometimes, especially with Alien, you have that less is more type thing. And you look at the Evil Dead one and Don't Breathe, what is it? It's just basically set within a single house. So I think we may get that return of claustrophobia as well, which it does. Works wonders for an alien film because they work in the same way as like if you've watched The Reef, which is a shark film, that's pretty low budget, but one of the things it did really well is you just look through, you have characters looking through the murk of the ocean and you see this great white not dash out but very slowly loom out from the darkness and go back again, but it happens just like in real life. And if you capture that kind of essence in an alien film, you bring that claustrophobia back where you don't want to go into the shadows, and I really hope that's what this guy's going to bring to it.
Speaking of, I haven't seen The Reef, but there's another shark movie I saw called The Shallows that I thought was really good, that just focused on a single character.
That was Blake Lively, wasn't it?
Let me look.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, that's the one. I thought The Reef was better, but that had some nice things in it too.
So yeah, with them also saying characters unlike other characters, I'm kind of curious as to how that's gonna, and it also makes me hope that it doesn't fall into that Aliens trap of, you know, that one leading lady that is quite obviously going to be the survivor of the end. Give me a bunch of leading ladies,
the final girl.
Yeah, give me a bunch of leading ladies and let me not know who's going to make it to the end based on the trailer.
Well, it just says
Ensemble cast.
a bunch of characters you haven't seen before, which could be anything, basically.
It could be, but that's more my
just
hope.
Means, it just means character. They're unrelated. You're not going to see like somebody or other Vasquez or somebody's long lost relative.
Right, you boys, good? Anything else to talk about?
I mean, it's just really cool, exciting news again out of nowhere, and I'm stoked. It feels like stuff's coming again, finally. A lot of stuff. So,
do we get to call this Alien 5? Because I guess it is.
I hope
numbered sequels are out these days.
The thing is, there's no indication that this is a prequel, so I guess this is going to be set in familiar future set territory.
It's Alien 5 until we actually get the subtitle.
Yeah.
So can we call it Alien 5 in the reporting?
Yes,
people will be confused. They'll think it's the Blomkamp one.
We can call it Alien 5. There's been many takes. It just happens to be Alvarez as Alien 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you everybody for watching or listening, depending on how you're digesting this content. Thank you for supporting us with with your listen or watch. It's very much appreciated. As always, please feel free to leave us any comments, tweet at us, drop us emails, and we hope you'll stick around for the next one. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, you can find me personally at _Corporal Hicks.
If you'd like to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Ridgetop21.
And we don't ask Eric, he doesn't have one. But also make sure you're checking out the website, avpgalaxy.net. There's old school message boards on there that are still very much alive and kicking. If that's how you prefer your discussions, please come sign up, register an account, and join in with the rest of us nerds. We're also on Facebook groups as well, if you prefer your discussion to be chaos. You can find us on Alien vs Predator Galaxy Facebook community. And we also have a page, AVP Galaxy or Alien vs Predator Galaxy versus as in BS . We're on Twitter at AVP Galaxy. If you're watching this on YouTube, obviously we're on YouTube. If you're listening to it, you can also find us on YouTube, where you'll find video versions of our podcasts and video versions of our editorial pieces that we post on the website as well. Thank you, everybody, for listening or watching. This has been Corporal Hicks.
Ridgetop.
Xenomorphine.
Signing off.